Okay, welcome. I'm Jennie Dapice,
And I'm Anice Nascimento.
and we're here for the Association of Animal Assisted Intervention Professionals Conference 2023. We're going to talk about dogs in animal assisted interventions and assistance dogs, talk specifically about roles and requirements.
Well, I would like to introduce myself, but I'm not going to be long on this. I'm Anice Nascimento, I'm physiotherapist, and I'm Brazilian. But my first major was law, where I worked for 20 years. And my first job in AI was in 2004, and my first AI course was in 2005. Since then, I've been taking courses and updates in the area, including dog training and positive reinforcement and assistance dogs. And I am the creator of the Projeto Sorriso de Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa is a Smiles project focusing on AAT in physiotherapy, but also in education and positive reinforcement. And this I'm going to finish the second part of the data collection of my master and hope to have some more news for next year.
Okay, so hopefully Anicia will be back with us. Uh-oh, she froze.
Rose.
It's okay, we're back.
Okay, let's
You
go.
back? Okay. Sorry. Oh no. Should we start over? No, it's okay. So I am Jennie Dapice. I'm a proud member of AAAIP. I've researched, practiced, and volunteered in the areas of AAI and assistance animals since 2003. I'm an occupational therapist at heart, and I'm an occupational therapy professor at University of New England in Portland, Maine. I'm a faculty fellow at Tufts Center for Animals and Public Policy. I'm a board member of Elder Pet New Hampshire, which is a pet partners community organization. And I'm also a therapy dog coordinator at Canine Companions. I've been lucky enough to graduate from Canine Companions with a facility dog. I've also been a volunteer puppy raiser for Canine Companions. Currently, I'm an American Kennel Club Canine Good Citizen Evaluator, and I've received training in hippotherapy from the American Hippotherapy Association. And prior to doing therapy work with my facility dog from Canine Companions, I had a Pet Partners certified therapy dog, and we were certified together. My master's research involved service dogs and occupational therapists. And for my doctoral degree, my PhD degree at Virginia Commonwealth, I researched animal-assisted occupational therapy, specifically looking at whether play and participation were impacted as a result of canine-assisted occupational therapy. Okay, so today we're going to try to differentiate between the types of working dogs, and we really want to identify the roles and desired behaviors in types of working dogs. This presentation grew out of a conversation on AAAIP's member media. So we both posted on their member messaging page, and I posted something about service animals that were released that didn't make it and how they could be perhaps transitioned to therapy dogs. And Anice responded, and it actually started a great conversation, and we got to know each other. We learned a lot about each other. And and a lot of times on the internet, things go awry and people get angry and start to fight. But we took this opportunity, and also hosted by AAAIP. Luckily, we're both AAAIP members, and we were on this discussion board on AAAIP. And so we took this opportunity to kind of hopefully make a positive impact and to have this discussion and make a positive presentation and grow the field rather than fight and and argue. So we hope that this is helpful to other people as well.
So I want to share with you this recent article that had the participation of 137 experts in anthrozoology that participated in a workshop in 2018 and 2020, an International Society for Anthrozoology conference, and aimed to create clear operationalized of commonly used terms to describe animals who support people. And some great researchers involved with from Ohio, from AAII, and from AAIP too. And the researchers recommended some definitions. This is the definitions recommended, which protect the functions performed and consequently the animals that exercise them. And they recommend that the expression therapy dog be used only for the context of AAT. So look that on AAA, you have the therapy animal. Does the animal work with qualified allied health professional or clinician therapists to improve specific therapeutic outcomes for clients? This is the therapy animal. Education, school support animal. The recommendation is for, does the animal work with qualified teacher or pedagogue is in school or educational setting to improve specific, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Educational setting to improve specific educational outcomes for learners. So visiting animal. Does the animal visit facilities, school, aged care, hospitals, with non-professional or volunteers to improve well-being for people? If yes, yes, he is a visiting animal. So these definitions protect the animal who does some work with people.
Excellent. So I'm going to start with the term assistance dog. And so the term is assistance animal or assistance dog. And this is from the organization Assistance Dogs International. And their general purpose or definition for assistance dogs is that a generic term for guide, hearing, or service dog that's specifically trained to do 3 or more tasks to mitigate the effects of an individual's disability. A guide dog would lead a handler who is visually impaired. A hearing dog would alert a handler who is hearing impaired. And a service dog would perform physical tasks to support their own handler. The training standards for assistance dogs are extremely high, and they do have public access, which is provided by the Americans with Disabilities Act. At least in the United States, that's true. The participants in the dyad are the participant or the service animal beneficiary and the dog. And these do, again, have legal public access wherever the handler goes.
So let's see, therapy animal. Therapy animal improve specific therapeutic outcomes. The training standards are high. Public access, no, because they are pets. And suggestion is not public access. And the key points. Animal is integrated into therapy or treatment, which must be structured, goal-directed, and overseen by a licensed healthcare professional trained in the relevant therapeutic field. And the program you have the participant, therapy beneficiary, the dog handler, an individual who has trained and experience in dog handling, training, and behavior. This may be the therapist or a secondary handler, and healthcare, therapy provider, and the dog. This is a pet. No public access is recommended. And visiting animal for AAA. General purpose. improve general quality of life in various settings, hospitals, aged care, residential care, and the training standards are high too. Public access, no, because they are pets. And the key points, well-trained animal handler, handler.
Go ahead.
So, and the key points, well-trained animal handler team, primary performed on a non-professional or volunteer basis, differs from therapy animals that you almost see, as programs are unstructured with no specific therapeutic goals, although some participants may experience benefits to well-being. That's the most important, the well-being of both dog and the participant. And AA program implementation assumed the participation of 3 or 4 important parties: the participant, activity beneficiary, the dog handler, person who has experience in dog handling, training, and behavior, and the dog. And this is pet, so no public access is recommended.
Go ahead.
Sorry, education and school support animal, and general purpose educational support, improve learning or developmental outcomes for students. The training standards are high too. Public access, no, because they are pets. The key points: an animal who works in educational settings with a handler to improve educational outcomes for participants. Educational activities must be structured, goal-directed, and overseen by a licensed teacher or pedagogue. An AAE program can be implemented in a classroom or as an educational tool outside the school or educational institution environment. So the participant, student or educational program beneficiary, the dog handler, the educational institution or professional provider, the dog. This is a pet, so no public access is recommended.
Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about how the dogs are different in these specific interventions. So some features are general, but some are quite specific. Some therapeutic settings are quite challenging and have their own characteristics. For example, physiotherapy and occupational therapy, AAT, schools, animal-assisted education, and hospitals, which could be animal-assisted activities.
And we have to think about the sensitivity of the dogs on these specific sets. Physiotherapy and occupational therapy, the dogs has a more controlled set, because they know the patient, they know the clinic, they know the environment. So schools has a lot of loud, and the dogs need to know a lot of sensitivity of the sounds. We have to know about that. And the hospitals, we have the problem of a lot of smells of the hospitals. So we need to have dogs that has no high sensitivity for smells.
Great, so talking about the roles of assistance dogs versus dogs in animal-assisted interventions, specifically, assistance dogs are required to ignore people. They should be task trained and well socialized, just in case. The traits, they need to focus on their owner or handler and the tasks that are required of them. They should be calm and unobtrusive, and they should be able to tolerate unpredictable environments.
So the dogs in AI required to interact with people should be well socialized, should be well-trained and treats solicitors like people, interactive, can tolerate unpredictable environments.
Okay, so some desired work behaviors. In assistance dogs, it depends on the job, but these are task-trained dogs. They perform tasks when they're cued, so tug or get. They're supposed to remain calm and out of the way. We want them to lay beside their handler, and they need to stay calm but ready to work and be responsive.
And dogs in AI show interest in participants, demonstrate treats, interact with participants, and shake, remains calm but upbeat, lay beside participant, sit on participant lap, stay still for petting.
Okay, so we just wanted to talk a little bit about this. This is really why we're here. The literature shows that the need for appropriate dogs in AAI is growing. Assistance dogs organizations need puppy raisers. And also, it's a fact that assistance dogs organizations have dogs that are not appropriate for assistance work, so they may be released. They don't meet the extremely high training standards of a service dog, but they are perhaps have the aptitude. So our question is, if a dog does not complete his training for an assistance dog, can he be directly referred to an AAI program?
It's not a role, but it's a possibility. And the dog must go through a new process of selection and evaluation on his preferences and skills. As with all dogs in AI, it depends on dog aptitude, skills, behavior, response to training, and how much work they enjoy.
So these are from the AAIP competencies, but we want to talk about them here. Recommendations to consider. Different from assistance animals. Animals that will act in some form of AAIs will interact with people, so they should like interacting with others, right? The service dog only interacts with its handler a lot of times, so it only has to interact with one person, whereas a dog in AAI has to interact with a lot of people in the community. In all AAI, the handler has to identify active animal consent. They need to identify the various responses to a petting consent test. So does the dog avoid the petting? Does the dog accept petting? Does the dog enjoy the petting? The handler needs to know the difference between active consent, obedience, and compliance. And this is very important. We think it's one of the most important things we're going to say today. It is important to identify the animal's suitability or limitations on a situational basis, despite a potential emotional bond with or personal bias towards the animal, to define which mode of AAI will be suitable for a particular animal. If I have a therapy dog that works with me in a school, and then, and is trained for that, and I have my specific patients that I see every week as an occupational therapist, and then let's say I have a request to visit a friend in the hospital. Now, my dog, who is trained to be a therapy dog in occupational therapy, may not specifically be appropriate for that setting in the hospital. It's more unpredictable. I don't know, maybe I even know the person who I'm visiting, but I don't know what the scenario is going to be like. It's much more unpredictable, much different setting from the school-based setting. But that's very hard sometimes to say no also. People know that you have a therapy animal and they think, oh, she can take her therapy animal anywhere. And so sometimes it involves having to say no, which is very hard because we all know and love animals and we want to share our animals with the world, but we have to make sure we have the animal's best interests at heart.
And other recommendations to consider. Handlers have to recognize that giving an animal the ability to choose interactions is essential to safety and welfare in AIs. This is the consent. This is so important when we talk about the relationship with other animal in some profession. recognize that interpreting and responding to body language cues is essential to safe AAI. Distinguish between proactive and reactive stress management of an animal. Identify closure strategies that balance the needs of animal and client. Identify characteristics of appropriate clientele for an individual animal. Identify appropriate positioning for an animal that balances the needs of the animal and the client. Recognizes how the handler's bond connection with the animal protects all parties in the interactions. How great the handler is very important in this relationship. Identify strategies for directing the animals through voice and hand signs. Identify ways support animals in changing environments, situations, sudden movement or sound, or some unpredictable things that possible happens.
Okay, so here are some of our references, most of our references, and we'd just like to say thank you. We are both, these are some of the animals that we were inspired by and that we work with or work alongside. They are truly our partners, and so we wanted to showcase them here. Some of these are in memoriam because the animals have passed, but we're so lucky to work with these animals, and we love to talk about this topic. We love to talk about therapy animals, AAI, service animals, assistance animals. So here's our contact information. If you would like to contact us, we would love for you to get in touch, and we'd love to try to talk to you and have a discussion and go on, based on our discussion board discussion on AAIP. We'd love it to see you on the discussion board of AAIP, or reach out to us individually. So thank you so much.
I wish you understand my Portuguese accent, and thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.